floor. They commence dividing into smaller factions. To optimize the search, one group ascends a stairway. However, a figure materializes, obstructing their passage. It's Kim, the once troublesome delinquent, now a steadfast ally. He inquires about the presence of the infamous three-headed phantom gang. A bald individual challenges him, demanding his identity. Without hesitation, he proclaims his affiliation with Sunshine. Suddenly, Kim launches himself skyward, ascending the entire staircase in a single, breathtaking leap. He descends before the startled henchman, the proximity unsettlingly close. Kim quips that such actions could result in expulsion. Swiftly, he plunges a knife into the abdomen of a bald adversary. He readies himself for another merciless assault. A flurry of blows from his blade ensues. The relentless attack leaves several men crumpled on the ground. A crimson tide follows, engulfing the scene in terror. Kim wryly observes that, thanks to their interference, expulsion is now inevitable. In the classroom, the instructor elucidated the proper method for sentence translation. Seth sat with his eyelids closed, attending to peripheral chatter. Detecting a disturbance, he grew agitated within the headmaster's office. The man was shirking his responsibilities yet again. Abruptly, someone flung the door open, jarring the grinning man. The behemoth inquired if he was the newly appointed headmaster. Entering the room with his entire cohort, he declared it a privilege to make his acquaintance. Stunned, the headmaster rose to his feet, demanding their identities and asserting control. One of the underlings advanced, materializing behind the headmaster with uncanny speed. With a single hand, he compelled the headmaster back into his seat. Apprehensive, the former educator merely gazed, bewildered by the unfolding events. Nevertheless, the monstrous figure retrieved a photograph from his pocket to illuminate the situation, insisting the principal summon the boy immediately. It's a picture of Seth Kong. Baffled, the principal echoes the new student's name. The behemoth affirms it's him, commanding his delivery or facing death. The principal retorts that he'll alert the authorities. His quivering hand extends towards the rotary phone. Casually provoking, the monster inquires if the principal comprehends the repercussions of such an action. Simultaneously, within the Young Jean School boxing gymnasium, Brock reiterates his question about searching for the boy. The man with the Vegeta-esque coiffure appears oblivious. The two students remain taciturn. Abruptly, the man lunges forward with a baseball bat, spewing profanities. Without a moment's pause, Brock delivers a blow directly to the lunatic's face. Instantly, the man is destabilized. Unhesitatingly, Brock incapacitates him with a subsequent facial strike. Witnessing this, the remaining accomplices are stunned. Even Victor is astonished by the potency of Brock's punch. Undaunted, the behemoth glared at everyone. Knife-wielding goons surged toward the high school student. An exasperated Brock roared at them. He seized one of their faces, crushing it, then unleashed a flurry of blows upon everyone around him. Witnessing this, Victor became apprehensive. He too plunged into the fray, grumbling about his disdain for being entangled in such chaos. Swiftly, the pair became a formidable duo, dismantling the thugs together. Meanwhile, Kim had just vanquished a multitude of henchmen. The remaining few grew increasingly enraged. They charged at him, screaming threats of death. One, brandishing a sword, poised to strike. However, Kim evaded the attack with ease. He retaliated, plunging his knife into the man's neck. The blow proved lethal. The man remained motionless. Annoyed, Kim pondered the whereabouts of his comrade, Ronnie. Outside the school, Rodney, the chauffeur, assessed the situation. After being assaulted by numerous individuals, he exclaims they're relentless. He voices apprehension for Kim, but anxiety also gnaws at him for Seth. Their superior abruptly erupts into maniacal laughter, bellowing that Kim needn't fret about that. Swiftly, Ronnie lunges towards the remaining goons in the classroom. Seth perceives the commotion outside. The clamor reverberates through the room. Suspicious, he's desperate to ascertain what's happening. Back with Kim, he readies a counteroffensive. One assailant attempts to impale him, but Kim evades the attack and hurls his knife into the man's arm. The ruffian ends up dangling precariously from a locker. With lightning speed, Kim snatches the man's knife. Surging forward, he delivers a fatal blow to the man's chest. Kim appears slightly winded from the relentless combat. More henchmen materialize, and Kim begins to feel the pressure mount. A surveillance caméra capture à tout shooting option ici. Suddenly, a blonde thug delivers a brutal kick to Kim's face, sending him plummeting to the floor with an aerial kick. Within the classroom, Seth rises. Bewildered, his instructor, Sophie, gazes at the protagonist, intrigued by the unfolding events. As he advances towards the exit, he remains silent. Fixing his gaze upon the teacher, he instructs her to confine everyone within the room. With hands tucked casually in his pockets, he descends a staircase. Suddenly he detects something amiss. A figure lies vanquished on the ground. He deduces that a confrontation is underway. A band of assailants encircles his underling, Kim. Perspiring profusely, Kim is armed with only a knife for defense. The novice scrutinizes the scene silently. However, as his gaze drifts sideways, he perceives something potentially advantageous. It's a fire extinguisher. The ruffians converge on Kim, brandishing their weapons. But something arrests Kim's attention. His superior is materializing from behind the aggressors. Seth strikes one of them with a fire extinguisher. The impact reverberates with a deafening roar. The ruffian's head crashes against the metal lockers. After the blow, Seth appears exhilarated. Apprehensive, the ringleader commands his lackey to incite the boy. They all surge towards the young man. Devoid of fear, Seth confronts the onslaught with a maniacal grin. With lightning speed, he activates the fire extinguisher, unleashing its contents directly at his oncoming assailants. Blinded by the spray, he seizes the opportunity. He hurls the extinguisher into the heart of the obscuring cloud. Consumed by a frenzied excitement, he plunges into the haze. Shrouded in the dense smoke, he commences a brutal assault, undetected. He emerges from the fog, advancing directly toward the mastermind of the operation. He violently seizes the leader's head, poised to slam him into the ground with ferocious power. The blow appears to render the leader unconscious. Witnessing this, his underling Kim is visibly irritated and bewildered by the unfolding chaos. The novice exhales sharply and summons the headmaster. The administrator frantically dials the authorities. The dispatcher inquires about the nature of the crisis. He frantically explains that the institution is under siege by delinquents. Hysterical, he proclaims the school building overrun with monstrous thugs. He pleads for immediate assistance. Observing this frantic exchange, the mobster fixes him with a cold stare. However, the operator begins to clarify the situation, explaining that due to the ongoing electoral proceedings, law enforcement personnel are stretched thin. The dispatcher continues, assuring him that the nearest available units will be dispatched with utmost haste. The call abruptly ends, leaving the principal in stunned silence. He stammeringly repeats hello into the dead phone. His trembling hand betrays the gravity of the predicament he now faces. Chip, the mobster, simply offers him a chilling smirk. Suddenly, one of his henchmen loudly interjects, declaring that the target has been located. This revelation fills Chip with immense satisfaction. Meanwhile, adrenaline surged through the air. Seth had vanquished the majority of the foot soldiers, yet a handful remained. These stragglers, though apprehensive, braced for combat, desperate to escape the precarious situation. The novice inquired if contact had been established with his uncle. His underling reported that no response had been received, but a message had been left. Upon hearing this, a wave of panic washed over Seth. Fear gripped him. His subordinate offered profuse apologies. However, Seth declared that regardless of the consequences, events had spiraled irrevocably out of control. An underling interjected, asserting that Seth's safety was paramount. At this, Seth fell silent, momentarily lost in thought. Abruptly shifting the focus, he commanded the fight be taken outside. His subordinate readily concurred. Outside the school grounds, Bothers, handling matters in his own unique fashion, was suddenly accosted from behind by an assailant. Without even a glance behind him, Bob delivers a swift strike. The man crumples, collapsing onto the floor. As Bob declares, time for a little rampage, he smashes another goon's face, sending him soaring like a launched baseball. It appears Bob has effortlessly dispatched everyone. Opening his eyes, he observes something peculiar. His superior, Seth, and Kim are battling other thugs along their path. Witnessing this, the driver is stunned and astonished. With exhilaration, he sees Kim grinning while their boss remains utterly stoic and silent. As they advance down the hallway, someone intercepts the trio. It's Brock and Victor, who have also neutralized all the henchmen in the gymnasium. Annoyed, Seth orders them to stay out of his affairs. Perspiring, the blond man remains indifferent. Brock remarks that it seems a tad too late for that. This further aggravates the protagonist. Strolling down the school hallway, a new arrival emerges, inquiring why all the boys are sprawled on the floor. He advances toward the cluster of students, remarking on their apparent recklessness. He observes that they are tarnishing the gang's formidable reputation. Upon seeing this man, the newcomer deduces that it's Miduki Inusuke. He must be one of the 3 commanding officers of the notorious three-headed Phantom Gang, renowned as the most dominant gang in all of Japan. Seth inquires as to Inusuke's purpose. Exuberant, the mobster counters with, "Does Seth believe I came here for mere amusement?" Inusuke proclaims that he must, at the very least, secure the head of the Sunshine Group heir. Enraged, Seth challenges him to attempt it. However, his loyal subordinates surge forward to shield him. Observing this, the mafia leader summons Kyle. He heralds Kyle as the undisputed top-ranked fighter in all of Japan. Kim and Bob brace themselves for an